In brightest day,
in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and I've got some more DC Comics news. We knew when the March 2021 solicitations came out, that wasn't going to be the entire lineup of DC Comics in 2021. Now in April, they're starting to trickle out the new series. Obviously, yesterday we talked about the new next Batman series, the new Robin series, and today we have the information on the new Green Lantern series we knew was coming out from Geoffrey Thorne. I do not believe most Green Lantern fans are going to be excited for the new Green Lantern team. Obviously, some are, but not exactly the team that I was expecting. Obviously, we knew John Stewart was going to be a part of it, but now he's going to be teaming up with Joe Mullins from Far Sector and Teen Lantern from, what was she, Young Justice. And that is going to be the team I personally find a little bit disappointing, and I'm going to tell you why when I get to that part of the segment. Also, we have information there's going to be a new DC Digital Batman Scooby-Doo team-up comic. And what's interesting about that is that you not only have the two teams obviously worked together in the past, but DC's taken a little bit different approach as far as their digital strategy. It's one of the first times it feels like maybe they have a coherent digital strategy. We're going to talk about that. Then finally, there's a new flashback comic book coming out that's going to be curated by Mayim Bialik from The Big Bang Theory. Interesting idea, but I do believe it's going to be executed poorly because of the creative talent involved. Now, before I get into the details of all these comic book series, I do want to say, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, give me a thumbs down if you don't. Either way, tell me what your thoughts are on the new Green Lantern series and the new team up, as well as these new DC Comics for Kids. We knew coming out of Future State and into Infinite Frontier, Geoffrey Thorne was going to be staying on the Green Lantern title. I just reviewed that comic yesterday, and thankfully he's going to be teaming up with Dexter Soy on art moving forward in Infinite Frontier. Was not a big fan of the art in Future State. I think Dexter Soy fits Green Lantern DC Comics like a glove. He's got the nice slick art. He's very expressive, can do great action. I imagine he's going to have wonderful visuals regarding space travel, so I think he is a perfect fit. Now, I do not believe the team is a perfect fit, and I think a lot of longtime Green Lantern fans are going to be disappointed. Now, me personally, I'm going to give it a shot, but this is not the Green Lantern team that I expected it or probably even wanted. I don't mind having Green Lanterns other than, Hal Jordan or even Kyle Rayner, John Stewart, the mainstays that we've had for so long. I was reading Green Lanterns before it got canceled. That was Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz. So I don't mind having the new characters, but the two that they've picked, specifically the one that we're seeing here, and you can probably see why, Teen Lantern, this is a Brian Michael Bendis creation. And if you think about her origins, basically she created a gauntlet that hacked into the central power battery of Oa, and she's basically stolen her powers from the Green Lantern Corps, and her gauntlet is supposed to be very, let's just say it's potentially combustible. It is not a stable device. Now, if you think about her origin, there aren't a lot of superheroes that actually went out there and stole their superpowers from other superheroes. You can think of maybe like Scott Lang as an Ant-Man. Probably worked out. He's kind of more of an anti-hero, I guess. Well, is he a straight hero? Is he an anti-hero? That's one of the few examples I can think of where this works. This is obviously, kind of right in line with a lot of what Brian Michael Bendis has done when creating these new teen characters. He did almost the exact same thing with Riri Williams becoming the new Iron Man in Marvel Comics. That hasn't worked, and it certainly hasn't worked over here at DC Comics either. I'm surprised they've decided to keep the character, and I'm very surprised that this image on the left is the one that they've decided to showcase and promote this new Green Lantern series. This is everything that people are going to dislike about the character. You've got Teen Lantern, who certainly hasn't proven herself, was not selected for service in the Green Lantern Corps. She's standing and pointing in Ganthet's chest. Obviously, he's one of the Guardians of Oa, one of the oldest characters in the DC Universe, one of the most powerful characters, and certainly a good guy who's done a lot of great things in his comic book career, and she's yelling in his face. This is the worst introduction you could give people possibly excited for a Green Lantern series, and they're like, oh, that's going to be the new character. I dislike her already. Because that they didn't ring Young Justice. Most people didn't. Most people are unaware that Teen Lantern really exists. For good reason, because she's not a great character. So I think this is a mistake. This is the only promotional material that DC Comics has released for Geoffrey Thorne's Green Lantern. We got this black and white art on the right from Dexter Soy. This isn't even from the Green Lantern series. This is actually from Infinite Frontier #0. And we got this cover with Teen Lantern dressing down Gambit. Terrible introduction to the character, and I think that was a bad choice. Now, the other two members of the team are a little bit more understandable. Obviously, John Stewart has been a mainstay as a Green Lantern leader for a very long time. He was just the leader of the Justice League when Robert Venditti was writing it. I enjoyed the chemistry between him and Batman, where he was like the military leader and Batman was kind of getting frustrated. I like John Stewart. He's a no-nonsense, no-frills kind of leader. He is a bit by the book, but he always, he's ready to fight to the end, and I think he's a great choice for this. And apparently that is Geoffrey Thorne's favorite Green Lantern character. Obviously, we know that he is a fan of Green Lantern history, so I think he's a wonderful fit. Obviously, John Stewart, no one's going to really complain about that. But then Jo Mullins, is she even a Green Lantern? I know she was in Far Sector, which was, I think it's MK Nemesis. I don't know. Somebody that's never written comics just came in and got their own Green Lantern series because that's what they do at DC Comics now. I thought she wasn't a Green Lantern. She was just some human lantern adjacent character that was in the future. I thought she was way off in the future. Apparently she's not, but she does still have these stupid glasses. I don't know why they're bringing both of these new characters in. Just one thing that they did in, Future State Justice League, when they introduced Jo Mullins to the Justice League as a member of the Justice League team, to a lot of people that probably had never heard of the character. Guess what they introduced her as? The greatest detective in the multiverse. So obviously that supersedes the world's greatest detective because she has to be better than Batman. And another thing that new comic books do to make people dislike the new characters. They can't let the fans decide on their own. They have to let them know how they have to feel about the character, beforehand. And of course, John Stewart, when he meets Teen Lantern, even though she hacked into the Central Power Battery, she stole her powers. She has a combustible, unstable gauntlet that could blow up everybody. He is going to be exceptionally impressed by her, even though he is by the book. And he is not one that has ever sided with or really even had compassion for a lot of criminals, although he did blow up an entire planet kind of accidentally. But you could say he's a murderer, but that wasn't his fault. I don't see John Stewart being like, oh, great, Teen Lantern, really want to team up with her. She's a criminal. She stole her powers. She didn't earn them. But of course, in the comic book, even Geoffrey Thorne, even if he's a great big Green Lantern fan, he's going to have John Stewart slurping Kid Lantern or Teen Lantern and telling her how wonderful it is. He's likely to be telling Jo Mullins what an amazing, wonderful detective she is and how she puts Bruce Wayne to shame. And it's an honor for him just to get to serve with her. Like, he never thought he would get to serve with Jo Mullins. Guarantee it. And this is, it's one of the things that Marvel does especially, but it's certainly trickled down to DC Comics, and I imagine it's going to be very annoying. Now, is that a very cynical take? Absolutely. But at this point in my comic book reading career, I am cynical. I'm cynical by nature. I'm excited for a John Stewart-led Green Lantern series. I'm not too excited for the two hangers-on. There's enough new Lanterns that haven't gotten shine, most specifically Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz. There's too many human Lanterns. Let's put it that way. There needs to be a culling. Also, I'm really surprised by this because we know that HBO Max has a Green Lantern series, a Green Lantern show coming out, and that one's going to be fronted by, I believe it's Alan Scott, Guy Gardner, Jessica Cruz, and Simon Baz. I think Kilwalk's going to be in there as well. None of those characters are associated with this team. I know I have heard rumors that there is going to be a second Green Lantern book. If you're a Hal Jordan fan, feels like you won't be getting any Hal Jordan anytime soon. Obviously, he's not part of the Justice League. He is not part of the Green Lantern book. And if there's a Green Lanterns or whatever the other book's going to be called, I don't see how there's room for him at this point. Obviously, I could be wrong. But I find this team to be quite disappointing. Geoffrey Thorne's maiden voyage on Green Lantern in Future State, I thought was an exciting book. It was fun. It wasn't a Green Lantern book. We shall see how he does here. I don't think most Green Lantern fans are going to be really excited about this. Of course, the 3 fans of Teen Lantern and the 7 fans of Jo Mullein are going to come in my comments section and tell me what an idiot I am, and that's fine. If you're excited for this team, good on you. But let's be a realist here. There are plenty of human Lanterns We haven't really gotten Kyle Rayner spotlighted in a very long time. Guy Gardner is an afterthought, although he's normally associated with John Stewart. I'm shocked he's not in this book. Jessica Cruz still needs to be fleshed out, and I still think Simon Boz needs to be fleshed out. Stop acting so many characters. As far as I'm concerned, Teen Lantern and Joe Mullins have not earned their spot on the main Green Lantern title at this point. But we'll see if Geoffrey Thorne can make it work. Obviously, that's what he's getting paid to do. Now, the other big news coming out is we are getting a Batman and Scooby-Doo weekly comic book. Now, this is going to go against the grain. They've picked a specific date. These comics are going to be releasing every Saturday to quote-unquote fill in that like Saturday afternoon family-friendly entertainment void that's out there. So they're taking a different strategy. There's a specific release date for this Batman Scooby-Doo team-up. There is not a specific writer or artist on the book. It is going to be rotating. The first story is going to be Batman lost his purple gloves that he originally wore, and they're going to go back in time with Velma and Shaggy and Scooby, and they're going to try and find his gloves. It's a whodunit. I believe the Batcave is possibly haunted in issue number 2. Obviously, that is right up the alley of Scooby-Doo, and it could be interesting. Obviously, Scooby-Doo and Batman are not unfamiliar with each other. They've been doing Scooby-Doo Batman team-ups since the 70s. I think the most recent one was 2017. So these two characters, teams of characters, have certainly worked together in the past. I will probably read this with my 5-year-old. It sounds like something he will probably enjoy, as we are learning to read right now, and he's doing exceptionally well. And I think he will like it. And I didn't see anybody on the creative teams that would give me pause, which is a good thing, which I can't say about the next book I'm going to talk about, The Flashbacks. Now, this is supposed to be a bunch of short stories that are highlighting STEM research. It's going to be curated by Mayim Bialik. Obviously, she has a PhD. She used to be Blossom. Most notably, she has been a member of the Big Bang Theory for quite some time. Now, they did name the writers on this one, and I can tell you right now, I'm not impressed at all what DC Comics has put together. So these are the people that they want me to give access to my kids so they can write stories from. Cecil Castellucci, Vita Ayala, Amy Chu. That's probably enough. There's a few other writers in there, but no, I'm not giving Cecil Castellucci any access to my kids with the way that she's written Female Furies and her odd take on that, and it's certainly her finale on Batgirl. I don't know why they would put a writer like that on a book like this. I imagine Mayim Bialik has never heard of Cecil Castellucci. It had nothing to do with it. But she is curating it. So I'm blaming Mayim Bialik at this point. What were you thinking? When you put certain names on it, it just feels like they're trying to indoctrinate my kids, and I don't want anything to do with it. Obviously, the art that they did show looks very good, very age appropriate. Probably could be fun, at least visually. But with the talent that they put on this, I am very not impressed. Obviously, STEM is a big thing nowadays. They really want the kids to be into STEM. I want my kid to be a comic book artist or a writer, maybe he can be an engineer, but we shall see. I don't imagine him not reading this Flashbacks book is going to make a difference one way or the other. It'll probably mostly be on me and my wife making sure that he stays up on his education and is well read. So that is it today, folks. We got a new Green Lantern team. It is going to be John Stewart, Joe Mullins, Teen Lantern. I'm excited for 33% of that team. I don't think that DC Comics are going to get the result that they want as far as sales on this. Obviously, time will tell. Geoffrey Thorne did have a good start as far as Green Lantern in Future State. And he said it's going to be a big action series. Do you really want to see Teen Lantern in a Halo-style book? I don't. Also, Teen Lantern seems like a villain to me. She's a thief. I don't see John Stewart ever embracing that character. That is not part of his history or his personality. I do think Batman and Scooby-Doo is going to be cool. They do have a new release date, release schedule as far as the digital schedule goes. Also, it's going to be 24 issues, and they're going to be collecting them into 12 floppy comics that they're going to release later. So at least they're doing something different with their digital comics in the future. Flashbacks, a big no-no for me. Mayim Bialik, shame on you for having such an incompetent, terrible group of writers. They do not get access to my kids. You can find somebody better. You should have done better, DC Comics. That'll do it, folks. That is the new series release information that we have for today. Likely to have another video or two like this in the days ahead, as DC is trickling out the new creative teams, the new titles that are going to be coming out in April 2021.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.